1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yes.
Mrs. Flint, a spirited old English lady from my childhood, pops into my dream.
Well, hello. I was just talking about you.
Mrs. Flint taught me to play piano on a busy street.
Lift your hands.
Mrs. Flint towered over me with her spotted aging hands and flowery English tea breath. Mrs. Flint was so lovely.
Was I?
Mrs. Flint popped out fluid when she spoke. Her passion lived in her face and hands.
Is that right?
Mrs. Flint spit, I tell you, all over the piano, but Mrs. Flint's spit sprayed the goods of what it means to live a caring, heartfelt life.
That's fabulous.
Mrs. Flint would talk for hours and hours about one tiny bird or branch.
Well, sometimes I tell you I've been reading the newspaper for days, and this is what I've learned.
Mrs. Flint could spin a story out of anything.
Right.
Mrs. Flint sprung out of her bed in her nightie and dashed to her piano. Mrs. Flint, she came to visit in my dream. After all these years, I'd forgotten.
Mrs. Flint, I don't have a first name. Hello, who are you?
Mrs. Flint?
Yes.
Can I have some chocolate-covered digestive cookies, please?
Why, yes.
Mrs. Flint wanted me to play the piano so badly.
A little steeper, a little wider, a little longer, a little higher, a little softer.
But I was more interested in her cookies. I took comfort in her musical house. I took comfort in her grumpy husband, Bert.
Bert?
She always thinks she knows what she's talking about, but really I'm the one who reads the newspaper. I'm the one intelligent one here. Tony Paddington Chapel. Stand up straight. Get a violin and play for us, damn it.
I took comfort in her son Tony's outlandish violin concertos in the living room. I took comfort in the wildness of his hair flapping as he played.
Just take off, yes? You've got to have that lightness of being as you dum-dum-dum, dum-dum-dum-dum-dum-dum. Do you understand?
Mrs. Flint was 100% pure organic spirit topped with wide teeth and a ginormous smile. Mrs. Flint came to life when she laid eyes on me, and so did I when I laid eyes on her. Mrs. Flint would argue and debate. She spoke like a British professor I saw in the movies once.
Canadian politics, I really can't stand for a day in my life. It's just absolutely rubbish.
Mrs. Flint was my friend. She liked me, even though I hated piano. She liked me even though I was disheveled and torn up from ungodly weekly events. She liked me even though I was gassy and bloated, full of fear and wretched anxiety.
Aren't we all?
She liked me and would spend time with me each week, then sit down with both my father and I for a 2-hour tea and cookie fest. Dear Mrs. Flint, I invoke your presence at once. I call forth your open arms and warm, warm heart. Mrs. Flint, you are a gift to me. You are a spice of life. You are a Saturday morning community grower, world's best hugger, cookie muncher, right from your living room. Mrs. Flint, I remember. Mrs. Flint, I thank you. And Mrs. Flint, I miss you. Won't you come for tea?
You are just aren't you a sweetheart? Rum-pum-pum, tum-tum-tum, tum-tum-tum-tum-tum.